Ezra Levant here. As you can see, I am back in jolly old England. The Parliament building's behind us, but I'm not feeling in a jolly mood because the United Kingdom has a massive censorship campaign, and I'm not just talking about deplatforming people, kicking them off of social media. I'm talking about arresting them. According to the Times of London, a prestigious newspaper, 30 people are arrested by police every single day for what they write on social media. And I'm standing next to Thomas Moffat, aka Young Bob. That's his social media name. He's 17 years old, and he was arrested just over a week ago. Here's video of the police arresting him. Take a look.
On my Uber, see that? At
if you can move down to the bus stop for me, I'd say that's a fair compromise.
So there.
What for? Section 14, mate. You've been seen protesting, you refuse to leave the area despite multiple warnings. You don't have to say anything, but may harm with the may later on in court. As well. I was making attempts to leave, I had my Uber booked for a minute.
So are we all going to get arrested?
So a quick context there. I was arrested for Section 14 of the Public Order Act. I attempted to leave through booking Uber, and I was not part of an assembly or protest. I was booked in for 24 hours. Midway through the night I was woken up and they gave me even more bullshit charges, citing videos that I've done in the past. And my bail ends at the 30th of October. I'm not allowed in Epping, and there's a few others that I can't really go into detail now. All I'm going to say is, legally speaking, I am fucked. I don't know what to do in terms of legal representation.
Well, when I saw that, I thought, I don't think this 17-year-old has the resources to fight back. What 17-year-old has a lawyer and knows how to push back? So I reached out to young Bob, and we're meeting here today to talk about a crowdfunding campaign to protect him and to fight back. Great to meet you. I know your fans call you Young Bob. Your real name is Thomas Moffat. It's nice to see you in person.
I appreciate the support as well. I think optically, for Essex police especially, it's not great to arrest the 17-year-old off the most offence of trying to book a cab, and you accuse me of being in an area which doesn't have a section, and the area that is sectioned I wasn't in. I wasn't part of an assembly or protest. They're trying to control your civil liberties by introducing arbitrarily defined sections which control where and how you protest. And when I was trying to leave, I very obviously had an Uber booked.
Now, those are some technical terms you're using, sections, and police can order you to leave and things like that. But if you strip away some of that legal lingo, that jargon, really, they didn't like the fact that you were a citizen journalist. You've been attending a lot of these protests against the migrant hotels. The police don't like the fact that hundreds of thousands, even millions of people are seeing your work, and they thought, what can we do? And in the UK, unfortunately, there's a lot of laws that police can just sort of hatch, and they can hand you an order to leave, and if you don't, that becomes the offense. You're not doing anything wrong. They order you to leave. If you're not leaving fast enough, that's basically the criminal charge, isn't it?
Yeah, so in fact people's bail conditions would even be worse. So I was originally arrested for breach of a Section 14 of a Public Order Act, which states that a particular area that is given this section, you cannot have an assembly or protest.
So you were an assembly of one or a protest of one?
There was a one-man army who had an Uber booked, who showed on several occasions the officers that I was within my means to leave. Then they arrested me because supposedly I was protesting. The area that was sectioned I wasn't in. There were several other people attempting to leave within the same area. They arrest me, they take me in custody for the full 24 hours, and midway through the night they give me a further arrest for a hate crime inciting religious and racial hatred, because they suspect that on September the 5th, in which I said we should call for the deportations of economic migrants within the Bell Hotel. Now this is an opinion across Epping and Essex, and it's very clear that people within this area don't want migrants who come here. They claim asylum, even though interestingly they're just here to economically benefit off a very vulnerable system of migration. And they suspect that my political opinion that I put out on the internet is an arrestable offence.
You know, again, you're using some reference to sections and things like that, and that's, I'm glad you're thinking about those details. Really, the police, it's almost like Lavrenti Beria, the former Soviet head of secret police. He had a saying, I don't know if you know this. He said, show me the man and I'll find you the crime. by which he means there's so many laws, there's so many ways to get someone. Just show me who you want to get, and I'll cook up the accusation. I think that's exactly what happened to you. Someone said, we've got to stop young Bob from doing his journalism. Just find a way. Throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. And the fact that you're 17, I think they knew you weren't maybe legally savvy. You probably didn't have a lawyer. And to hold you overnight in the police station, they knew that would terrify a man of 53 years old, let alone 17 years old. I think they were trying to spook you. They were trying to demoralize you. They were trying to scare you. That's what it looks like to me.
I mean, of course, this isn't the first time, unfortunately, I have been arrested for covering protests, and that is always the fear tactic. So, actually, for juveniles, people under the age of 18, the police within the UK prioritise their detention and make sure that they aren't charged, making sure they're not in prison, because that ruins their future career.
But they did keep you overnight.
They kept me over time. So what they're doing is enforcing a political crime on a young child, and that contradicts the surrounding ethos of the Metropolitan Police that is trying to have these people have good futures. They're going to completely ruin my life if I'm ever charged of these two offences, and they want to do that to kind of make a precedent out there that citizens, journalists and protesters can't cover and talk about migration.
I tell you, young Bob, for a man of tender years, you speak with a sophistication and a maturity, and I think they picked the wrong guy to push around. I was worried, though, because I've seen in the UK people who don't have lawyers at all, or people who don't have strong lawyers, get railroaded. I think of Lucy Connolly, the mum who was sentenced to 31 months for a tweet. There really is a war on anyone who's a skeptic of mass immigration. And that's not a racial thing. You're just saying we want to enforce the law. There's these illegal migrant boats. To turn that into a crime, to have that's a mainstream political point of view, by the way. Even the Labour Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is talking about deportation. So the police, I think, are being bullies. I don't think it's a good look on the country that gave us Robert Peel's principles of policing. I think the British police are losing their reputation. But I think it's important that you get some strong help. And that's why I reached out to you. As you know, Rebel News crowdfunds lawyers for people who can't afford them. We've done that for Tommy Robinson in the past, and I offered to do that for you. And I just want to tell you that we're not going to let you go through this alone. I've spoken to one of the lawyers we use for Tommy Robinson's cases, Tana Edelman of Carson K., which is a solid law firm we've used for many years with Tommy. You and her have spoken. Now, don't tell me any details about that conversation because it's legally privileged, but just confirm for me that you've spoken for Tana and you feel like you're in good hands with her?
Yeah, and from what she said, she seems like she has a long history of dealing with protesters. And of course, I'm quite vulnerable, although that's kind of ironic, me admitting that. I am very young. I don't have the wisdom that many people that I'm privileged to be surrounded by have when it comes to dealing with the law. And places like youth detention centres, they're incredibly violent. I mean, you have to be one disturbed individual to be arrested at my age. And you think that Islam and like this militant Islam is entrenched within adult prisons. They're certainly more entrenched within young offenders institutes. So if I get there with my track record of religious and political coverage, I wouldn't do too well. So I think this is an attempt by the police state, and of course I always respect the lawyers that will cover me and make sure that I'm legally protected.
We've been in touch with your mom as well to make sure that she knows that we're dealing with you because you're a minor. I want to make sure that when we're talking to you and we're offering to crowdfund, that this is okay with your mom. And she has spoken to us on the phone. I want to confirm that for viewers because, of course, we have to be respectful of the fact that you are indeed a minor. You carry yourself very well, but you are a minor, and I want to make sure that you have a guardian overlooking our work. So basically, we are going to pay Tana's legal bill. That's the firm Carson K. As you pointed out, she's been fighting these battles for a long time. The way Rebel News does that is very simple. We say to the world, if you think their treatment of young Bob is outrageous, if you think that it's political intimidation, if you think they're trying to scare him out of his citizen journalist, then let's bind together. And you would have to be very wealthy to pay a lawyer to do this on your own. But if we can have 100 or 1,000 people chip in £5, £10, even £50, together we can pay for the lawyer to get young Bob out of this pickle. go to saveyoungbob.co.uk. Saveyoungbob.co.uk. We've already come to terms with the lawyer and with you, young Bob. I think if police know that you've got a strong lawyer and that you've got thousands of friends looking out for you, and that Rebel News is going to shine a light of scrutiny on this, I'm hoping that they'll back down and think, okay, well, we can't push this guy around. That's the theory we're working under, at least.
Yeah, like you perfectly outlined, I'm the textbook example for the police, as I imagine, of someone who's vulnerable and they can chuck the whole law book at, and I don't know, I plead guilty to whatever crimes they're accusing me of. So it would be absolutely great to kind of demonstrate to people that mothers, children, people who are very new to this new form of activism are now covered by historical institutes who have fought on the side of protesters.
You know, in the UK, there's a wonderful group called the Free Speech Union. They're doing a lot of good work. They can't take everyone, and I think in the protest movement and the citizen journalism movement, that's something that Rebel News has a special connection to, including with our history with Tommy Robinson. So there you have it. Young Bob, he wants to fight for freedom. He wants to fight for free journalism, for citizen journalism. He was one of the journalists who covered the People's Revolt in Epping against the migrant hotel there. Police were looking for a way to shut him up. They cooked up a scheme. We have to stop that scheme with an excellent lawyer, and there's no way that young Bob could afford that on his own. That's up to you and me. If you believe that we've got to help citizen journalists, including this young guy, I mean, look at him. He looks like he's got to be 25. No, he's young. He's 17, and he needs our help. Go to saveyoungbob.co.uk. Thanks.